And welcome everybody to another episode of Mac Yak. We're at episode number 98 now, guys. Two more, and we hit that big magic 100 number.
But
what?
Next week.
Oh yeah, that's right.
We'll get to that.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that. So what's everybody else been up to this week? I know I've been working my butt off, that's for sure.
I cleaned my office. Then I got some more boxes.
Well, I haven't cleaned mine, as you can see behind me. I've actually started moving stuff around, and I need to finish doing all that stuff. So, yeah, a whole bunch of Macs sitting down on the floor over here, and some Macs.
Yeah, my kid is happy though. You should see the size of his fortresses. Boxes everywhere. He's happy.
There you go.
I made a video.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
I think that's the first one in 5 months. I made a video.
Yeah, I've been paying you. I've been paying you that not Patreon, but the PayPal stuff for how long now?
Well, you pay me to clean my office, not to make content.
I actually, it's a very useful video because I actually want to get one of those things. So you providing reviews on it saves me from buying the rubbish one.
I'm about to make another one. The new one.
Oh well, that's the other one, is it? Jeez, that'll run quick.
By the way, my comment's still there. My second one.
I'm not sure if I can be bothered waiting for the video on that one, Jay. So, can you just tell me if it's any good?
Well, he hasn't even opened it yet. It's still in the box. It's still in the box, Bruce. He hasn't unboxed it yet.
As long as it's by the end of today, I'm fine.
No, not happening. But I could probably do tomorrow.
We're thinking live stream after Mac Yak, right?
Why not? Don't do live stream.
Nope. Jay does do live streams sometimes.
No. Bruce does live stream. You do live stream. Steve does live stream. Dana was supposed to do live stream, but that's never going to.
Yeah.
Well, Dana's supposed to do stuff, but has he ever done anything?
The last 2 weeks, even Mike does live stream.
Oh. Yeah, even Mike.
I'm probably gonna do some more, since I actually have a half decent camera now.
And Mike is on a roll.
Yeah.
Steve and I are actually working together to try to get me some better equipment because I'm thinking about opening up a second channel. I already made the channel, but I'm not exactly sure what I want to do yet.
As long as it's not PC?
No. Well, I might have. It's not going to be computer related. It's going to be gaming related.
What game?
But it's basically going to be me playing games on old computers.
People will watch it.
Yeah, I'd watch that.
Hey, people watch people play modern stuff on Twitch, so I figure, well, hell, I could play stuff on the Apple too.
Well, YouTube. That's Twitch, and they're usually half naked. So
I was going to say,
I can't compare that.
Exactly.
That's the difference between a thought and
you may not have the same sex appeal.
But don't be modest, Mike. Yesterday, or what was it? 2 days ago, you did like 5 streams in the span of an hour. So you really are on a roll.
Yeah.
Fight me.
So, where is
Steve? Not speak truth?
Trina has asked, where is Steve?
Yes. Time for some public shaming. Grudy and Steve are not here.
Yeah.
And everybody should pile on Discord and give them ample amounts of crap about it.
Yeah. Steve said, I've got all these subscribers now. I don't need you guys anymore.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And there's Kate. Welcome there, Kate.
Yeah, we got Trina, we got Kate, we got Sad Mac, we
she
got
sits
Michael,
there. She says she watches middle-aged guys play Amiga games on Twitch, and they have their clothes on.
I hope so.
Well, you're just weird. That's not.
Well, then maybe somebody will watch me on YouTube play Prince of Persia and die 500 times on the Apple II.
Yeah.
That's an impressive amount of impalements. I'll give you that.
I'll say that's right. Yeah. I particularly like the way you just kept doing the same thing again.
I wasn't trying to do the same thing.
Or watch him play battle chess.
Apple II is horrible. I mean, it is so twitchy. It's not funny. I could hover over a key and it'll type.
Oh damn it! Steve is here to defend himself. That's not fun. Bill, go on Discord and give him crap and OB.
Well, he did say he was going to try and join in later on.
If he's at home working, then he should be on here. He can work and talk.
Ooh, very good point, sir. Very good point.
Jerk.
I don't think he's at home.
So?
Well, he works from home.
So he's not here.
Think he's working. I think he's using that as an excuse.
I think so too. And just like Grudy uses the excuse, what's his newest one now? He has a business meeting, is what Grudy told us.
Yeah, that came as a surprise. Does he know how they work?
He's now part owner of a
Let's
car
hope
garage.
it's not a
or
car
something.
garage, because we know how that goes.
Yeah. Oh.
Rage increases. Oh, Steve's getting mad.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, you better get on here and defend yourself.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's only one thing you can do.
Speaking of Prince of Persia, Steve was playing that on his 32 meg 2CI or 2CX, whichever it was, yesterday, and he went through that whole first level just like almost flawlessly.
Well, yeah, as he did say, he has that level memorized, so
Yeah.
so he knows where all the knows all the tricks. Because
Yeah,
one of the things in that first level is when you go down that very first hole,
Uh-huh.
the height is enough to actually take one of your little potion bottles
Yeah.
away.
Yeah.
But if you crawl
But if you
down
grab
slowly
on.
and dangle, yeah, that's right.
Yep.
Okay, now in my defense, the other day when I was streaming on the Apple II, that was the very first time I'd ever played that game in my life.
Okay,
It's a hard
Julie
game.
noted.
Like, it's like Steve said, it's memorization, and you have to know the game mechanics, like how far you move when you sneak, or how far you move when you jump, or how far you jump when you're running. It's, yeah.
And of course, there
Or
is
you
a
can just play
painful
Unreal
delay.
Tournament.
It can be infuriating.
Yeah. So,
It was getting very infuriating, let me tell you.
but anyhow,
and,
I think the fact that we all sat there and watched Steve play it is a clear indication that it's a great idea for a channel. I think, Mike, you definitely
You're
go and
onto
do
something there.
Yeah.
That.
Yeah, Steve and I were talking about it the other night, so we're thinking about doing a joint thing, using old hardware, because I have a video capture device that works with the Apple II, so
Might as well use it.
Yeah, I was pretty impressed with that.
All right, guys.
Before we
I was
move
kind of
on,
impressed with the way I had OBS set up. I thought it did a pretty good job personally.
well, not the first 5 times, but after that it was all right. Before we move on, I just want to point out, in case people haven't seen it yet, on Discord. By the way, if you're not on Discord, get on Discord. There are
255
web links. You got a bunch of categories in the left sidebar. We have all our individual channels there where we post new blog posts, new videos. One of the channels is Friends of Mac Yak. Now, this will grow over time. Right now, it's Macintosh Librarian and Action Retro. They post their videos in there. If we receive enough money, aka bribes, then people can, feature their content in there.
Well, it's funny you should mention that, Jay, because we are accepting super chats now. So you can actually donate money to us via super chat. And
what gets you into that channel? $50? 75?
I don't know.
I don't know. I think people
we'll
should start
figure that out.
Or you have to
be guests on the show.
Or if you have a good following, like if let's say you have a couple 100,000 subscribers and you're on our show, and then you could get in there too.
Yeah, but don't forget to check that channel out. It'll grow over time, but a lot of cool content currently there. Well, not a lot, but cool content currently there, and more coming.
Yep.
So.
All right, so let's go ahead and get on to our first topic of the evening. And Jay, I'm going to let you take care of this one because you made a rant
I was about to
blog
ask you,
post
what's the
about
first
that.
topic? Hold on. Oh, yeah, that sucks. I forgot about that one. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. I forgot to make an overlay for that. That's not the first topic.
You do have it.
No,
it's
it's
up
on
there.
there.
News.
Dude, it says...
Oh, well, we skipped the news then.
Oh, sorry. Well, we'll go back to that later.
I thought we were professionals.
We
What
are.
the hell? Okay. But yes,
Been doing
topic
this how
one.
long?
Big Sur has been out for a week now. Week and a half, week, give or take.
Something like that.
And apparently, it is too big for some people. And that's what she said, jokes. Apparently, people with 128 gigabyte hard drives, or SSDs, cannot install... he bribed us. He's already in.
Thank you, Action. Thank you, Sean.
It takes you backsies.
Someone wrote an article on Macworld, and it was basically a giant rant that says, hey, I have a MacBook or a Mac, I don't know what Mac, 128 gigs. I made enough space available to download the 12.5 gigabyte Big Sur installer, only to find out it needs 35 gigabytes total to install. Rand, page 3, 4, 5, 6,
That's
7,
the
8,
wrong
and
link.
Rand.
And this
Sorry.
is an actual Macworld UK
I
contributor.
copied the wrong link. Sorry.
Yes. I didn't do anything. That's on you.
I did that. I did it. Sorry. All right. The second link is the one that you guys need to go to for the rant.
So,
We'll just
I couldn't help myself and I let out a rant of my own, but that's not the issue here. I'm curious, whose is it? If you buy him, well, let me not bias the question. If you have a Mac, regardless of the specifications, and you do not have enough space to install the latest operating system, is that Apple's fault?
Nope.
No, it's not. It's your
I
fault
don't think
because
it's
you
fault.
decided to buy cheap out and buy the lowest Mac that they sold.
I agree.
You decided
Yeah.
to cheap out.
Yeah, the thing is that it's not that you can't install it on that computer. It's that there wasn't enough free space
Mm-hmm.
Right.
on that computer.
But
And so-
the way the author of this article framed it is like Apple has let everybody down that has a 128 gig hard drive
Now,
or
that's-
SSD.
yeah. No,
Now-
because let me tell you something. I have a 2012 Mac Mini. I run a 128 gig SSD in,
Why?
running Catalina, because I don't need any more.
Yes,
I
you-
only run 3 programs on this stupid thing. So what do
How
I
about
need?
this?
What do I need a 500 gig hard drive for? I
How
have a
about this?
file server.
My 2012 Mini has a 60 gig SSD in it because that's all I need. I need the OS and Plex, and that's it. Everything else is offline. Is external storage.
Yeah.
All right. So,
So-
if you don't have enough space to install Catalina, whatever, are you going to blame Apple for it?
Well, no.
No.
First of all, I'm going to blame
Just
myself
get a
because
bigger
I'm the
drive.
one- I'm the one
Right.
that put the 128 gig SSD in it and took the 500 gig hard drive out. But second of all, I'm definitely not going to blame Apple because it's not their fault I was a cheap ass and decided to go
Mhm.
and get the smallest
Now-
computer possible.
I have
that's
a technical
just
question.
stupid. And there's no excuse that you should run out of space on a computer nowadays. I mean, USB hard drives are ridiculously cheap,
Well,
and
not
they're
only-
fast.
Not only that, but cloud storage is cheap as hell too. I mean, I'm paying for 200 gigabytes for $3 a month. Come on.
I paid $12 a month, or no, I paid $9 a month for 2 terabytes.
Yeah. See.
And I can tell you right now, I'm probably using maybe a tenth of that.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is I like to know that it's there. That should I need, because my computers at work I don't have issues with. This one here I do. I mean, I've got a 2 terabyte internal spinner. I've got dual 512 gig SSDs. I have a 500 gig. I have 2 500 gig external hard drives, and I have a 500 gig laptop drive in my USB dock.
Enough
And
with the showing
still-
off, dude.
I'm still running out of space because of these stupid videos. So I finally got this brainy idea to start unload all these videos that I make onto iCloud. Oh my God, was that so nice? I could finally clean up Final Cut Pro, and I actually have breathing room now, and I don't have to worry about my SSDs burning themselves out because they only have 2 gigabytes of space left.
Well,
Okay.
I mean,
So-
on my CMP here, I'm running a 240 gigabyte SSD for the boot drive. Okay, I have spinners, up to I think 5 terabytes almost total spinners for everything else for data storage. There's no like Jay said, there's no reason that you should blame Apple for your shortcomings of not putting enough storage in it.
All right. For future reference, one of us has to disagree so we can have a nice debate going. We can't all be
So-
on the same page.
Can I just ask a question here? How does the size of Big Sur compare to the size of Catalina?
It's big.
Yeah.
Now,
Catalina was only like 13 gigs, I think.
Okay,
This-
so would I be correct in saying that because this is software that's designed to work on both ARM and Intel architecture, that it is potentially like double the size because there's twice as much
It's
code?
going to be bloated like Tiger and Leopard.
You're
I can
probably
tell you that
correct.
right
yeah.
now.
I don't think that makes up for the twice, because if you look at previous operating systems, I think you needed 9 point something free space, hard drive space. So
I thought I needed 13 for Catalina.
But you got to look at it this way too. You're putting if you put Big Sur on the new M1 Macs they have out there, they can run iPad apps and stuff like that. So you've got iOS built into that system as well. So it's got to be on the other Macs, but you just cannot run iOS programs because you don't have the processor to do that yet. So it probably has the code in there. I think Bruce is onto something here, that it probably has bloated code right now because they have not optimized it for either Intel or ARM.
It makes sense.
Now wait, say that again, Greg, because I was under the impression that as long as you ran Big Sur, you could run iPad and iOS apps.
No, not on Intel platform.
Oh, okay.
Because you don't have the processor to run.
See, I figured that they would probably do like an emulation thing where they would emulate the processor.
Nope.
I mean, I think you can already run like a
there's
an emulator using like Xserve and the Xcode thingy.
Xserve, yeah.
Xcode, but it's as slow as anything. I mean, so you can use Xcode to actually test out iOS apps on your Mac, but it's just it's painful. I mean, you click on something, you just wait for it to load up. It's terrible.
Well, I did a quick little poll or survey or whatever you want to call it with some friends and family. Says, listen, if you have to go buy a new phone right now, forget about the price, whatever. What are you going to get? Oh, I'm going to get the 512 gigabyte. So why not this 128 gigabyte or 265, 56? Oh, it's too small. I take a lot of pictures. Everybody understands. Even my mom gets it. Like, no, you know how many pictures I take? Everybody knows that they need a big storage on their phone because they take a lot of pictures. Just for the pictures alone,
I guess
they want to dish out extra money to get more storage, but somehow it doesn't apply to a Mac? Come on.
Well, here's the thing, though, Jay, is that I guess I'm in the latter of that group because I am getting the 128 gigabyte iPhone 12 Pro. Only because I have the 64 right now, the XS Max, and I don't even have it half full. And I take tons of...
your own usage.
Exactly, yeah.
I have a 32 gig iPhone 6s Plus, and the way that Apple actually optimizes the storage on the iPhones and the iPads is actually really good.
Especially if you have iCloud storage.
But you see now, then again, I don't use my phone for music either. So all of my music is on a separate iPod because it stays in my car all the time.
Well, yeah, that's exactly what I do, yeah.
But I can also, because of iCloud, thankfully, it'll offload all of my data into iCloud, and it'll offload apps I don't use. And when I need them, then you just download them. It takes 3 seconds. I don't find having a small device limiting in that respect.
I've been keeping an eye on the chat, and basically no one disagrees there either. So with 25 people agreeing, plus us 5, I'm going to just say that the author of that article was wrong.
Well, here's something Justin Morgan just posted in the chat here. He says that if you're upgrading from an earlier release, not Catalina, you need 44.5 gigabytes of available storage.
That's ridiculous. We're getting worse than Windows now, for crying out loud.
But the fun part is that if you go to the Apple website, you go to Big Sur, you look on the system requirements, it's right freaking there. You need 35.5 gigabytes to install this operating system.
Yeah, it's not like they didn't tell you.
If that person would have done 2 seconds research, it could have avoided the entire rant, which could have avoided my entire rant, which could have avoided this topic. See how much time we would have saved?
No, but we would have had nothing to talk about then. So
we got plenty to talk about. We never run out. And by the way, do y'all notice Steve just constantly chatting in there?
Well, he did say that he's coming on.
He ain't busy.
He said, get a 6-person overlay ready. He's ready to join us.
I've already got a 6-person overlay.
Where did he say that?
In the chat.
Oh, look at that. I'm still looking at something else in the chat.
All right, so one other thing before we move on here, and we kind of skipped it a little bit, is Target Disk Mode is officially dead on the M1 Max because I guess they want to use network sharing.
Yeah, it's if you use a Thunderbolt cable, there is older sharing, but it's sharing. Like you don't put the Mac in target disk mode so it becomes a big external hard drive. It kind of just shares through the Finder like it would over a network, which is stupid. I like
basically what we can do now with all of our machines. I mean, I network them all together like that already, but you can't just like hold a key down and make it a big, a hard drive.
Yeah, the classic boot up with the T held down, that's gone.
Yeah. And let's face it, that has always been an incredibly awesome feature.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
That is, it's saved my neck so many times. It's, it's really, really good feature.
Dude, you do not know how much that saved me when I was playing around with OpenCore and I screwed something up on my computer here. And because when I put Catalina on here without the DOS Dude patcher, when you try to boot up without OpenCore, it will not boot. It gives you the big old question mark because guess what? It's not compatible with the CMP. So I had to basically target disk mode into it, fix the problem, and then I was able to boot it. So that saved my butt like you would not believe, because there's no way I could boot it to get into that network mode.
So, gone.
Yep. Or at least extremely watered down. I can't even compare the two anymore.
Well, I can't say I'm surprised though.
No.
Yeah.
Target disk
But
mode.
they brought the chime back.
Firewire.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's been around since the Power PC, right?
Well, ever since Firewire came around, so yeah,
Gizmo,
iMacs.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think you could even put some. I think you could even put some OS 9 systems into target disk mode. I'm not exactly sure.
I don't think I've ever tried.
Uh-oh. That's a video.
Yeah, I don't have anything that old that has Firewire. But,
I know that Steve probably does.
well, I mean, you could put Firewire was actually a fairly popular option for the last run of the classic Power Macs, like
actually,
the 9600s.
Yeah,
it was
OS 9 can do it.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, because OS 9 runs on early G3s and G4s.
But it's not a software thing. It's the target disk mode's in the hardware, built into the hardware, correct?
It's both, I think.
I thought it's a hardware thing, because when you hit the T key, you're not booting into an OS at all. You're basically just making it into like a big hard drive, like Jay said. So I would assume that's a hardware thing. It has to be built into the hardware.
I don't know.
Well,
is Skype messing up again, or did Mike turn his camera off?
No, I turned it off for a minute.
Yeah.
Okay.
Still no Steve?
No.
Sure.
He's racing
slacking tonight, man.
Yeah. Well, Blind PC guy said he missed the chime. Well, the chime's back, so they brought that.
Well,
back,
that's what I was gonna say. They brought the chime back. That might break target disk Mac.
They sort of brought MagSafe back.
Well, anybody look at that Snazzy Labs video on it?
I did look at that Snazzy Labs video.
Yeah.
So
I have no idea what y'all talking about.
Go watch it. You'll have to, because it's
Snazzy Labs.
Ultimately, he was just saying that. I mean, the classic thing is that when you had the MagSafe connected to a laptop and you accidentally walked past and knocked it off, out would come the plug. But the MagSafe,
not with a phone.
Thing is,
not with
the
a phone.
phone is stuck onto it so hard that if you kick that cable, the phone's going flying off the table with.
Well, that's
with
because
the
the phone is so light. I mean, it's not a laptop. I mean.
Yeah, that's right. And of course, the other thing he was saying is that the whole purpose of a wireless charger is you just one hand you plonk it down, when it's charged you pick it up. The MagSafe, it's kind of stuck on so hard you need to pull it apart with two hands. So why not just use a plug?
Because it's not Apple.
That's not innovation, man.
Yeah,
no, it's not. Yeah.
All right, so let's go ahead and move on to our next topic here. Our favorite hardware tools for repairs and maintenance. So, what are you guys' favorite hardware? Well, yeah, there's Jay's right now. It's your favorite. But what is your favorite repair tools, hardware-wise, not software? I think we did software one time already, but hardware tools. And Dana is not allowed to say pliers.
Yeah, this topic definitely reeks of Jay. So come on, Jay, what did you have in mind?
I'm going to go with. I can't even find it if I tried. Helping Hands. We have a Steve.
Well, hold on. I got to get him in
Hello,
here.
Steve.
Holy crap, you showed up.
Good.
Told you guys.
I'm impressed.
Stuff in my face.
Solid
And you guys
24
are
minutes of
spreading
crap we could give you.
misinformation about Target Disc Mode and everything. I got a list of stuff I got to correct with you guys now.
Well, that'll teach you.
Well,
That'll
make a rant video.
Consider it a lesson.
These Mac Yak guys don't know anything.
So for me, Helping Hands. You know, the flexible arms with the clippy things on it.
Sometimes call them third hand. But yep.
Yep. Not to be confused with third leg. And well, it's not really a tool. It's a kit. You know, my driver kit. Typically, I get them from iFixit. Yep, that one. Every screwdriver in it you could ever possibly want or need.
This thing is like I got 2 of them actually. And the
And,
only reason why
this
I
is
bought
more
another one.
specific to what I do, but my microscope. I could not live without my microscope.
The one reason why I bought another one is because I destroyed this thing.
Yeah.
I'll be totally honest. I'm not a big fan of the ones that where you change the little tips on there. I've actually bought a whole stack of separate screwdrivers. I don't kind of like the ones where you swap the magnetic tips over.
That means you have to have a ton of screwdrivers in. You can't put it in a little thing like this.
Yeah. What, is there any other way?
Yes, but I have a workshop, so you know.
Those little bits are easy to lose too.
Especially
that's
handy
exactly
for
why
people
you
with
have
limited desk space.
Well, that's the reason why when I'm done using the tip, it goes right back in the slot where it goes. So
You're an optimist, aren't you?
I have not lost one yet.
Same here.
You bastard.
I think the only thing I've lost is probably one of those little pick things that came with my other kit, because this kit I only bought just this part. It's the only part that came with it. The other one was the full kit with like the sploogers, the tweezers,
What?
the spudger, whatever.
I like spoogers, but I don't think it's correct.
Well, it's like scunge and
websites for
scrunge, right?
There's websites for that.
But anyways, it comes with all the other tools and stuff, like the suction cup. It has the the pry tools and stuff like that. So that thing actually comes in handy, and it has a little magnetic plate there too that you can put all your screws on, and they don't fly all over the place.
Yeah, I got one of those little cheapo $6 sets, and the reason I keep buying those sets is because I lose those tips like it's nobody's business. In fact, in front of my desk here, I'm using it to currently hold SD cards. This was once full of tips. They all went bye-bye. So
I've seen you in action during a live stream, and I'm not surprised one bit.
yeah, you should
Get
be.
it?
You should be. I fully
Every one of
admit
those bits is in your basement. You just haven't found them yet.
it. The rabbits have been eating them one by one. They're just
Yeah, he's sitting there, you hear cling. Oh, bunny pooped out a bit.
Thank you. Where's my T8? Ah, thank you.
Let's rinse that down.
Nah.
But I mean, I know that they're not sponsors, but iFixit's probably the best kit out there to buy right now. I mean, to be honest, maybe we get them.
Someone yesterday or the day before posted in one of the Facebook groups. I don't remember which one. Says, "Hey, I use this toolkit and I highly recommend it. And it basically has everything the iFixit kit has, plus and more, for $19. So I
I'll
do
buy
intend to pick one of those up, and it's a good one. I've used it in the past,
What brand is it?
not at home, but somewhere else. And it's you can't really mess up a whole bunch of stuff made out of steel.
What's the brand?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I have experienced screwdrivers with soft tips, though.
Yeah.
And you use them once or twice, and then they get sort of burred, and then you just have to chuck them away.
Yep.
Yeah.
I had
Ironically,
one
that's the
screw that's
iFixit
got
kit for
Loctite
me.
on it.
What's that, Jay?
The iFixit kit. Well, I'm not exactly gentle with my tools, but I've had to replace several of the bits because they're pretty soft.
Really, I haven't.
I mean-
I haven't had to replace any of mine yet.
I've got a cheap screwdriver set, and I've got the iFixit set. Now, keep in mind, as I said, my iFixit set is all screwdrivers with handles. It's not just the tips. But the cheap one, most of those screwdrivers are wrecked now. The metal on the end just breaks. But the iFixit ones are very solid.
Okay, Trina, we're talking about hardware, not software. So she's over here talking about a boot CD.
I mean, a CD is a physical thing. Come on.
Yeah.
But it's software.
I like Mike's route.
Yeah.
To some extent, I mean, this is
any server in the world.
There you go. BFH.
Especially
everybody needs a BFH.
That's my favorite tool right there.
This is one of the most important tools in my toolkit, which is the SCSI QSD version 5.5. But keep in mind, of course, that software is also a very important part of that. Hardware is just the conduit for the software that's on it. So.
Especially the software on the microcontroller chip.
Bruce, is there anything you want to say about that particular item you're holding?
The fact that I will be selling these to Australians within probably about a week's time. So, yes.
The official ones.
So Bruce is now Bruce SCSI 2SD Rain. That's his official name now.
His official name.
So, I will be...
Put that on a t-shirt.
Yeah. So, starting off with the stock of the 5.5, then I'll be getting the version 5.2. Will be coming out probably... maybe a couple of weeks' time. They're still being made, and not sure about the 6. We'll have to wait and see. But certainly this one and the version 5.2. So, yeah. Look, obviously, the whole purpose is selling them to Australians because of the shipping costs of buying them from overseas. So,
Case says Bruce wears.
There we go.
I finally found the link for those tools. I'll put it in the chat right now in case anyone wants to check it out.
That just means, Bruce, that everybody has to order in bulk. So you got to order 50 of them at a time to get your shipping prices in Australia. It'll be worth it. So
yeah. But
that looks suspiciously like a set that I was about to pick up, Jay. So I might have to go with that one.
Another very important tool.
Oh yes, is that an auto sensing one?
It is indeed. That's one little tip that I would give to anyone who is actually thinking about buying a multimeter. First of all, when the battery's flat, they're pretty useless. But the other the other thing is make sure you get an auto ranging one. So that's where you don't have to set it on what voltage you're about to test. You just you put it on volts and you test it and away you go. So, but yeah, multimeter, digital multimeter, very important. And as I say, this one's I just discovered has a flat battery, so I'm going to have to do something.
That's one thing I will say is rechargeable batteries. So I have a set of rechargeable AAAs and AA's, and they are essential in what they're the what's the brand? Eneloop, the same ones that Apple used to put in their wireless mice when the mice still had battery sockets and their keyboards and such. Yeah, just like that. And they take a little while to charge, so they're not like some of these ones that charge super fast. But I've had a bunch for maybe 5-6 years now, and they still hold a charge. You just got to charge them up. Just make sure you sit them on the charger, wait for that light to turn green overnight or a few hours or whatever. And they're great. I mean, I have a set downstairs that I used to jumpstart a Macintosh 2 before I put the battery sockets in. So they worked out fine, and it's great for like a flashlight or something like that. You don't have to worry as much. Just be sure of what your device is capable of. Sometimes rechargeable batteries work better in devices that do or do not drain things faster, so you just got to be aware of that.
So there's actually, just following up on that, it's a very important point when you're dealing with rechargeable batteries. First of all, is that most of these are 1.2 volts, not 1.5. Some devices don't like that, so not all devices will work with rechargeable batteries. The other thing to keep in mind is that with rechargeable batteries, they're not all the same. You might just think, I'll go out and I'll get one with the highest amount of milliamp hours rating on it. But the problem is that some of these, just based on the chemicals that they use inside them, the way they're made, some of them discharge quite quickly. So even if you've got them sitting on a shelf and not being used, you might come back a few weeks later and they're flat.
And so, how do you find with your Eneloops? Because some of them, I forget if I charge them or not.
Yeah, the Eneloops are one of the best out there. The Eneloops, in terms of the way they hold a charge when they're not being used, are definitely one of the best out there. They do still lose some.
Yeah.
For example, if you're in a situation where you're keeping, say, I'm going to speak American here, a flashlight in your car,
a torch. You mean a torch?
In the boot.
Yeah, in the trunk.
boot?
If you're keeping a flashlight in your car, and it's likely to not be used hardly ever. You might only use it if you've broken down some time in the way distant future. Don't use rechargeables for that. Use the old-fashioned alkalines, because alkalines have a way longer not being used shelf life. So yeah, but if you're working on something with a higher load, like digital cameras and stuff like that, that generally take quite a lot of power, then your rechargeables are the way to go. So there we go. That was a completely, totally non-Mac rant there.
No, that's fine. One other thing, if you're in a repair business, is a good soldering iron and hot air workstation. That's probably one of the most essential things, especially what you do, Bruce, with the recapping.
Yeah, I mean, my soldering iron is rarely idle.
Hopefully it is now.
Yeah, I think I switched it off.
What is that smell? It's smoke I smell. Oh,
why are the chickens making all that noise? Oh. After picking up that G3 all-in-one and not having a flashlight in the car, I picked up one of these little headlamp things, and this thing is stupid bright. But what's nice about this is it recharges via USB, so it's rechargeable.
Yeah.
And so there we go. Yeah. And well, mine is more.
That's a new
blinding,
meme. That's a new meme.
And so this is going to be put in the car. Came with a little USB thingy. There you go. So,
this is not fair because Bruce has a very strange obsession with flashlights.
I do.
That's torches to him.
I should show you the
got so many of
them. I have an unhealthy obsession with flashlights myself. I must say, I counted them today. I have 11 of them at work.
Do they all have batteries in them?
Oh yeah, they're all rechargeable.
I
got stream lights that have their own docking stations. I got spotlights that double as power banks. These big long sticks with the huge cob LEDs with little LEDs on the end.
Got LEDs on your LEDs. Yeah.
Oh my God! I do.
All the amazing tools
ridiculous.
we've listed, the people are going to take away from this. Oh, I need a flashlight.
Show your colors.
That's great.
Yeah,
well, let's face it. If you're working under the desk on a computer, you got to have a flashlight. So.
Oh yeah.
Well, it's especially like so. Even if I'm working on the microscope and I got the light on, the lights above me in the basement aren't that bright. Sometimes I just take a flashlight, look behind the computer, see what's plugged in, etc. So very handy to have, especially when you don't have it. You're going to need it.
And
And LED ones are the best ones now because they don't use the battery up that much and they are bright as you.
Bruce, how many do you have?
Well, just
and
with
that's
me
just
now.
on his desk.
Just on my desk.
20.
I get these emails because these are all Olight brand. They're a very, very good quality torch, and I get emails from them saying, we've got specials, and I look at them and go, I don't have that one yet.
Well, that's in green. I only have the blue one.
Let me get all the rainbow colors. All right, guys. So let's go ahead and move on to our next topic here. I think we've talked about flashlights enough there. So
no,
things
talk about flashlights enough.
What do you mean? Oh, yeah, we can.
Rechargeable, not rechargeable, bright, flashing, red, yellow.
Speaking of batteries, I don't use a lot of tools or stuff with batteries, but I buy the Amazon basic batteries. They perform pretty damn good.
They do now. Back when they originally came out with them, they were worse than if you ever see these in the stores. They're Kodak batteries, and they're always on sale. And the reason they're on sale is they're not designed for things like anything besides like a TV remote control. They will die in like a minute. So they're like designed for low power devices. So the Amazon batteries used to be like that. They have since changed.
So you're trying to say a Kodak battery is not good for a Kodak camera, digital camera?
No,
they would typically do Kodak rechargeable batteries with a Kodak camera. So.
Yeah, just like the one that exactly. But that you'll see on the package, the back of the batteries. It doesn't have to be Kodak; it could be any brand. But it will say for low power devices or not for high power devices, and that basically means don't put in anything other than a remote control. It won't even even power a flashlight for more than an hour, probably.
Do you guys remember I forgot the brand, but it was a Coolpix, the digital cameras. Yeah, I used to have one of those. Took some awesome pictures with it, but I always cheaped out on batteries. Always. Like in the stores, like,
Well, that's because we all do.
Cookies or a good set of batteries. Let me just get the cheap batteries and get some snacks.
Yeah.
And I would put the batteries in. You turn it on. You got the pring.
And then
the lens kind of. Yeah, it opens up. The lens slides out, and it would barely get the lens halfway out. The batteries would be dead. I couldn't even take a picture. Garbage.
And then you turn it on again, hoping like in a few minutes maybe you'll decide to work.
But see, even with those cameras, 'cause I had a Kodak camera that was like that. Even with the good set of batteries in it, it would last about 20 pictures, and then it's dead.
Yeah.
The
camera
autofocus
done. The old Kodak camera, I had an old Kodak digital as well, and it was not designed to work with alkaline batteries at all. You put alkaline batteries in there, you would get like 10 shots out of it, and then it would die.
Exactly.
They were designed to work on sort of high drain rechargeable.
I have an old Kodak camera here, and I don't use it anymore. But I had to go buy these special.
Oh yeah.
You could be holding anything there.
What are you holding? Because we can't see it.
Put it in front of your face, directly in front of your face.
Hang on a second.
All we see is Mike's Mac Shack.
Yeah, especially film cameras. They have very odd battery sets. Yeah, like that.
I had to actually use these batteries in that camera. It's supposed to
turn it.
Play batteries.
There you go.
That's a weird one. Never seen that before.
Yeah, those are photo batteries.
Huh.
That's actually a pretty standard photo battery.
Yeah, it is pretty standard. You can buy. I don't know if you can
still buy them. Yep.
You can still buy them.
You can buy them in stores. But I always had to use these in my Kodak camera because AA batteries. It was just like you guys were saying. It would pop the lens out, and the next thing you know, the batteries are dead. Or I'd put the thing away, and like 2 days later, the batteries are dead. It's like,
Two things I want to mention.
Dollar General batteries either.
To finish up the thing about batteries, do you guys remember? It's been years. Apple used to sell their own rechargeable batteries. Came with a little white charger.
Yep. Yeah, and a loop rebranded ones.
They have always been great to me. They last forever.
They are the same Eneloops that Bruce was talking about, just rebranded.
Okay.
Yep. Which these are made by Panasonic, so they were just essentially Panasonic batteries.
All right. And back to tools, eBay just said not an essential repairs tool. Depends on who you ask. But I bit the bullet and got a Hakko desoldering pump last month. So, and I've seen that thing. I don't know if you got a Hakko. I don't think you do. But I've seen one of those pumps in action on Bruce's stream. Actually, you did one on Skype yesterday, the day before. You removed, a 40-pin connector? And
Yep.
Like that.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I had to, on that computer, I had to remove a RAM slot. And then for another board for the same customer, I had to remove another RAM slot. And then, of course, I removed the whole SE, PC, PDS, what do you call it, PDS thingy?
PDS
slot. Yeah, I removed that whole thing. And that was, I don't know how many pins are on that.
They're 190, aren't they, Steve?
Something crazy like that, yeah.
Yeah. And, yeah, the short work that the sort of motorized pump made for that, if you're going to be removing stuff like that, it is well worth buying one.
Yeah, I would just say also because I came in at the end of the discussion, but one of those little magnetic telescoping things, like with a handle, those are great for picking up crap that falls behind your desk, especially when the capacitor fairies steal things, Bruce, and they trot around under the desk and then drop them right where your foot reaches all the way at the bottom.
It's actually it's a very good point. Magnets are really, really good, sort of in a workshop, for dropping things on the ground. And where I get mine from are from inside old hard drives. So when the hard drive fails, I pull them apart, and there are magnets on the top and the bottom of the.
That's because those magnets are stupid.
They're strong as anything.
Yeah.
I take those off and I attach them to like a piece of a string, and then I just drag them around the floor, and then I pick them up and go, there it is.
But if it gets
little tiny springs and
go
stuff.
fishing.
But if it gets stuck to something really metal that doesn't move, you're like, wait, it's snagged.
Right the string.
So I will accept Steve's nomination as a tool, but a piece of string with a magnet on it, that kind of
That's a
falls
tool.
outside of the tools category.
That's a tool.
Is a tool.
Nah, I don't. In Australia, maybe I don't accept that.
Just because I fashion my own tool doesn't make it not a tool.
Exactly. Bruce made it, so it's actually a tool now. It's a Bruce Wares. Sell it on your website.
There you go.
Oh, are you going to sell these? The branded Brucinators?
You just got to put your face on it, too.
I will if there's a market for them.
Just mark them up 50%.
And you have to do it so when it pulls back, your face goes from this to...
All right, guys. So let's go ahead and move on to our next topic here.
Sure.
Apple's new M1 chip. Have we underestimated it? Now, we've been seeing a lot of reviewers lately start doing some reviews on this thing, and it looks like the M1 chip is pretty darn good for
like
contender.
single core performance. However, when you put it up against multi-core machines, it is way down the list of what it can do.
I disagree in terms of way down the list. I think it's up with like the iMac Pro or something like that. I mean, I don't consider that way down the list for the entry level type.
But you would think it should be above those if it's getting single core performance like that. Then, I mean,
but
well, to be honest with you,
this is early days though.
But to be honest with you, I got rid of a 27-inch iMac because my CMP in multi-core just shredded it. However, that same 2017-inch iMac or 2017 iMac actually did way better single core. So I mean,
I read an article a couple of days ago of a guy who'd been using one for about a week. And he was I think, what is it? There's 8 GB MacBook Pro that they've just brought out with the M1 in it. And he was saying, obviously, benchmarks are one thing. Okay, yeah, it's doing quite well in the benchmarks, better than people were expecting. But he said, from an anecdotal use perspective, he said it is the fastest Mac he's ever used. He said it is just blazing fast to do everything in terms of how quickly applications load, how quickly it just when you open up the lid, how quickly it comes on, from being asleep and stuff like that. I mean, he was just saying that it has an incredibly zippy feel about it just overall, and he was saying that it feels like about the fastest thing he's ever used. And even when he was doing sort of video work and playing big 4K files and stuff like that, he was just saying it was blazingly fast. So that's not necessarily a benchmark, that's just anecdotal about this one person using that one compared to using this one. But he was basically saying it feels incredibly fast.
I just can't wait for them to have like an iMac or a Mac Pro and put like 50 of those chips, because what are they, 5 millimeters wide? Just put 50 of them. You have enough space in the iMac. There's what, you don't need that much cooling anymore. Just like a whole wall of them. You turn it on, the thing just like flies up into the sky. It's so fast.
But the other thing this guy was saying is he had I think he said like 14 or 15 hours between charges. Now, if we think of this from a practical standpoint, if we think about this for the sort of people that are using laptops and what people are using laptops for, we come at this with we're always comparing things to our classic Mac Pros, and let's face it, they don't make a particularly good laptop. And if you're talking about someone who's using a laptop on a day-to-day basis and they end up with this thing, they only need to, if they're using this thing all day, every day, they're only having to charge it like every couple of days. I think that's going to have a huge impact. I think it's the sort of thing that's going to make people go out and buy one.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's basically like the mentality of an iPad, where it's going to sleep, it's not going to take up much energy. Then when you go to use it, all right, it's charged enough, I can take that with me.
Yeah. And to be honest with you, the MacBook Pro that I have right here, if I don't have it on the charge and it's in sleep mode, I just close the lid, it only lasts about 3 days. I open it up and it's already like, it's down to 70% on the battery. And I'm like, 3 days it's been closed. I haven't touched it, and it's used 30% of the battery.
Is it a new enough one to have like the app nap on and all that stuff? Or?
Yeah, it's 2017.
You turn that off, I wonder if it helps.
Well, if you turn that off, then doesn't do what it's supposed to do because
but you're actually making it work when it's asleep.
But it's supposed to do that.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying, like, if you expect the battery level to remain constant, then it's doing something.
But I don't expect it to eat up 30%, in 3 days. It's supposed to last now, according to Apple. It's supposed to last a couple of weeks, being in sleep
probably
mode.
With everything turned off.
Yeah, that's the way Apple tests.
I'm just going to interject here because these guys are just going to keep going forever.
Yes.
If you all cast our minds back to when we very first heard the announcement that they were changing across, and we think about the discussion that we had, and we, in particular, in the lead up to that discussion, where we were saying, no, we don't see Apple going AMD because I don't think it's going to be able to work for them. Yeah, okay, maybe for the MacBook Air, but not for the Pro machines or anything like that. How do we feel about it now?
No. I think you misspoke there. You said the Apple going to ARM. You said AMD.
ARM, sorry.
Yeah.
I meant ARM, sorry.
A lot of us
we were saying AMD.
Yeah. I think all these benchmarks are extremely interesting to see. What's more interesting is what Bruce was saying, like the anecdotal quotes of people saying, oh, wow, it's so fast. Or even LGR picked up a Mac, and he's mostly a PC person, and he was scrolling through 4K footage in Premiere and just giggling at the thing because he built a PC for video editing. He built a PC just for video editing. And this thing was like, and it was like, fine. I mean, probably not all the bells and whistles and everything, but like that to me is like, okay, that's better than benchmarks because you're seeing somebody actually using it, pushing it to a pretty good limit there. And the machine is just like, yeah, sure, I'll do that. I mean, I can't wait for like, I'm not going to buy any of the current ones, but I can't wait for like the next revision of that to see, how these things mature. Because the other thing I think is the operating system, Big Sur, is kind of like Leopard, where you had your Intel and your PowerPC, so now this is like Intel and M1 compatible. So I think the next version of the OS might still be a hybrid, but when they really streamline this thing, I think that is going to be really, really where
the next version will be Little Sur.
Yeah, Little Sur.
Little Sur.
Well, personally, I did underestimate the M1 chip because
I did.
When it was announced, if you look at the lineup, just look at the website, look at the lineup, it is the lowest end in every category. So I didn't expect much. Benchmarks are benchmarks. If you optimize code enough, it'll beat anything. But then people started releasing the affinity benchmark tests and doing large spreadsheet sorting. I think the channel Mac Most, he did a comparison, real world application, and it beat his 16-inch MacBook Pro. But of course, it did not beat his brand new 2019 Mac Pro. So
I would hope not.
I did underestimate it. I expected it to be a lot slower and more useless, but it's definitely an impressive first chip.
So what you're trying to say, Jay, is that the new MacBook Air with the M1 is impressive.
Yeah.
He can't say it. He can't say it. See?
If I don't say it, y'all can't quote me on it.
So I think that Apple would have warded off a lot of criticism from this if when they released the MacBook Air and all those three machines, if they would have just said, these are not low-end machines, these are game changers, and just like set everyone's expectation. Because I think you're going to go over benchmarks night and day, but they should have said some sort of silly statement like magical or whatever the heck. And made
but Steve, we're looking at these machines, and we all know that these are the low-end.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They needed to.
So
they needed to say,
if these are the low end,
what your father's MacBook,
But if these are the low end, can you imagine what the high end stuff is going to be like?
I tell you, 50 processors.
Yeah.
So here's an interesting thing that the way I see it. Apple has moved away from Intel, okay, and we were all like, oh, okay, this is a bad move, we won't be able to run Windows on them anymore, they're moving away from Intel when the rest of the world's using Intel. Are they setting a new standard? Do you think that with these things, if they are going so well in terms of performance, do you think other companies are going to start going down the ARM route as well?
I think they are. I think you're absolutely correct. I think you're going to start seeing PCs start going the M1 route because I think
Microsoft's been trying.
I think they're looking at Apple as their guinea pigs right now. And if Apple does good with this, and it looks like somebody's echoing back there, But if Apple does good on this, they're going to want to try to beat Apple's scores. So you know that Microsoft is going to be working on it, and you know the PC builders are going to be working on it, trying to get a good ARM architecture. I mean, yes, Windows did try that once already and failed miserably. But,
but what makes the M1 so good? Is it the ARM architecture? Is it Apple's coding and implementation?
I think it's
what
both.
makes it so fast?
I think it's a combination of both.
All of the above.
You got to remember, Apple designed the actual silicon, and they designed the operating system to work together. When Microsoft first did it, all they did is they purchased off-the-shelf ARM chips, tried to make a Surface, their very first ARM Surface. What was it called? The Surface Pro R or X, whatever. I can't remember what it is.
X.
But that one was run on ARM chips, but it wasn't optimized to the Windows code. The Windows code was not optimized either. They weren't really optimized for each other. So that's probably why it failed. But you have Apple that actually did both at the same time.
Yeah.
Well, you also have the problem with Windows. You think legacy. And everything that runs on Windows 7, 8, 10, and going back, it's that x86, 64-bit, whatever, 386, whatever that code is, it's compatible to a degree. And the problem is that especially all these businesses and everything, if Microsoft says we're ditching Intel, we're going to ARM, and we're changing everything, everyone's going to lose their mind because all these drivers, every single little thing that has not had to be changed since like the Windows Vista days for compatibility, people are going to lose their minds over. I think
Windows
Apple
Vista,
is in a position where
the only way
back further than that. Steve.
Yeah, I was going to say Windows.
I'm saying for 64-bit drivers.
64-bit, yeah, but the x86 architecture dates back to it actually dates back to I think 76.
There you go.
But in terms of compatibility in general, it goes back to 81 with the original PC.
Yeah, either way, painful.
So
And
Microsoft
I think
would actually have to do two separate. They would have to do two separate developments. There's no way, as you say. I mean, like the way they are in business. I mean, there's no way that they would actually have to do two.
Yeah, Apple's saying a few years transition. Microsoft would be at least a decade.
Yeah, this is their failed experiment. It's a Surface RT. That's what Alexander had just said in there, and I have one actually that I rescued.
Nice paperweight.
Yes,
I was watching a video the other day which made a very interesting point about the whole M1 type thing, and of course it's the same with the phones as well. And that is that when you're talking about I just held it and it rang. When you're talking about specs on paper, which of course we talked about this, the M1 doesn't look that amazing on paper in terms of what it has, the sort of all of those sorts of specs just don't really stack up in terms of the performance it provides. And it's very similar to with the iPhones if you're comparing them to say an Android phone, because you need a higher spec on an Android than you do on an Apple phone because of the way that it's all so tightly put together with all of their own code and all of their own hardware all working beautifully together. You get a lot more out of a lot less spec, and that's the same thing we're seeing with the M1.
And I totally agree with you there, yeah.
The one thing that blew me away, I think it was on Mac Rumors, somebody used Wine to run Windows applications on an M1, and just the level of different translations and emulations that was going on. You have the Wine layer, which is, emulating Windows code through this whole mechanism and all that stuff. Then you have the Mac OS emulating the x86 programs for Wine to run on an M1 chip. And you have all this other stuff going on, and the guy's like, yeah, it runs fine. He was playing like Team Fortress 2 or whatever game on it. And, just for argument's sake of how fast these chips are, if you're going through all this emulation stuff and all these processing things that you shouldn't have to do if you're native, and you're not getting that bad of a performance bump, it's completely different from the way you were emulating PowerPC stuff on Intel, where, you had to have a pretty well-coded program or it was just going to fall apart.
Well, wait till they get some of the VM programs out, the virtual machine programs up to date to run on an M1 chip. Can you imagine that's what's going to really push this to the next level, is if you get VMware to run on the M1 chip and you can run Windows code in there in a VM on there. You wouldn't need an extra layer like you're saying right there, Steve. But
you'd still need the layer of emulating x86 or whatever.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. But that would be the VMware doing that. But let's say you have VMware that's optimized to run on an M1 Mac, and it runs well, then it's probably going to fly. And it might, and this is a might, it might run Windows better in the VM than Windows can run on a regular PC.
I wouldn't say that, but I would say you'd probably get very, very good results at doing day-to-day tasks, testing a page in a web browser, stuff like that. I wouldn't imagine it would be a godsend for gamers or anything.
Well, yeah, because the graphics is the issue, because a lot of VMs don't do graphics translations very well.
Yeah, or if they did, it was only for certain things and this and that.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, when they open this thing up and they give you expandable memory and graphics cards that are not that these graphics chips in there are slouches or anything, but I'm very curious, I think like we all are, of seeing the bigger machines that are going to come out with this.
Well, actually, Sean just said Parallels already has an M1 version. He thinks it's in beta. So...
Yeah, makes sense. I mean, these people aren't waiting to release this stuff. They want it. They want it out. I mean, these computers are already shipping.
Yeah. In fact,
that was my only concern with Apple moving to their own chip or moving away from Intel, whether it would have been AMD or whatever. My concern was the transition, because PowerPC to Intel was a hot mess. And so far, I don't think there's any major shortcomings in this process. I guess they learned. People are a lot more on top of it now. Companies are a lot more willing to play ball. Back then, they didn't really care all that much. So,
yeah, Apple wasn't as healthy as they were now. So I think, now you have Adobe on board instantly. That speaks a lot.
Well, and the other thing that's a little different is, unlike when they switched from PowerPC to Intel, they actually brought out an entirely new operating system this time, not one that was hobbled by multiple years of old code.
Yeah, they timed it right.
Because when the Intels came out, we were still running Tiger. We still ran Tiger for many, many years after the Intels came out. All we got was a software update to make it work, which is just basically Apple saying, oh, yeah, we just hacked this all together. So, it sort of works.
Yeah, because Tiger was 10.44, the install that came on my first Intel iMac, which is the first model that came out. Yeah, so Tiger was out for a while.
10.46 was the first Intel version. And we still ran that for 3 years afterwards, I think? 2 years?
Yeah, I think it was either 10.44 or 10.46 that came on the iMac. I remember having a dispute with somebody who worked at Apple. I was like, no, that's too low of a number. I'm like, dude, it says it on the CD. What do you want from me?
So, yeah, unlike last time, at least, they said, well, we're doing this whole new thing. If we're going to do this part, let's just do it all. And
they planned it better.
Yeah, I have to admit, they did actually come up with that idea. Now, obviously, I haven't used any of these machines, and I've been reading positives and some negatives, but, these aren't high-end machines either. But I don't know. I'm kind of interested, truthfully. I've never really been much of I want to buy this now person. I still use a 10-year-old computer here, and I use 15-year-old computers at work, for crying out loud. But
well, all of us use 15-year-old computers pretty much now.
Yeah, so I've never really been a big person that I'm in the tech world, but I've never been one that has to have the latest and greatest thing. If I find something that works for me, I'm happy. I still have a 4-year-old iPhone that I actually paid to have Apple put a battery in because it works for me, and I like it.
Well, we'll let Greg Rucke take the revision A bullet first.
But
there you go.
These new machines are actually kind of piquing my interest and kind of getting me interested in maybe considering, not anytime soon, but sometime in the future, purchasing maybe a MacBook,
Well, that's the thing. Also, with the price point of these things, if a Mac Mini could get best, a lot of the regular tasks that I do on a Mac Pro, then it's okay for me spending $700, $800 knowing that I'm not getting all that functionality because I'm not dishing out $3,000 to $4,000 on a Pro system. I mean, I'm contradicting myself because I hate that these things are, replaceable like an iPad. Yeah. But, if in the long run I'm spending less on a computer over the amount of 20 years or something, all right. Fine.
Yeah, but going back to topic one, make sure you buy one with
yourself.
Enough
I just
storage.
said I was contradicting myself.
I'm just pointing it out.
But Steve,
okay.
But Steve, like we said in topic one, make sure that you buy enough storage so you don't complain that the next upgrade doesn't fit.
No, don't worry, I'll complain about everything.
The way I see it, if the M1 chip and what we've seen so far, which granted is very little, it's all synthetic, you should get very excited for the next generation one. Not this one, the next one.
I agree with you there. I think
don't be rude.
This is going to be just like, you don't ever buy the first year of a new car.
Tell that to Grudy.
That's the year that's going to have all the problems. It's like wait for the next year or the second year of that vehicle, and they'll have all the bugs ironed out. You'll have a much better experience with that vehicle. This is going to be the same way. This is going to be their first foray. And it's not like they're using a proven tech. I mean, it's a proven technology, but it's not really a proven technology in the way they're using it. So these are kind of like the experimental models. They're throwing these out here, and they're going to say, well, let's see what happens. And so far, it seems to be doing good, which is I'm glad. But I have a feeling that these are going to be the ones that are going to have the most issues. I think if we wait 1 year, I think we'll find that they have something that's going to be at least 2 or 3 times more powerful than what we have now.
Yeah, and I think so also too. Since Apple is controlling so much here, they have their own system on a chip. It's their own system process and everything. We're going to see updates much quicker than they have previously done. I think at least once a year for every single product. Because they have the capability to do it.
The one thing I would really like to see out of Apple, and I'm sure this isn't going to happen, is now that they've moved all their manufacturing in-house, I don't see a reason why they can't reduce the price point of some of these machines. I mean, you can buy a Raspberry Pi for $100 for crying out loud, and that's a system on a chip.
Yeah.
So tell me why I need to spend $1,000 on a Mac Mini.
Yeah, profit. It is a for-profit.
Oh, I know it's profit. That's what I'm saying.
And innovation costs money, Mike.
Oh yeah, you're paying for the R&D, of course.
But on the other hand, if Apple were to reduce the prices on some of these lower end models, then I think that they might actually be able to bring some people from the dark side to their ecosystem.
Yeah, I think the $699 point is very tempting for a lot.
What did the Mac Mini start out as? $499.
Oh, $499. Yeah.
Yeah, it was $499. No, it was $399. I thought it was $399. $499. Yeah, well that
will never be that again, will it?
See now, if they actually did a price point somewhere in that area for a base model Mini, those things would probably fly off the shelf like look at the iMac. They were selling those things for $1,000 when they first came out in 1998.
So $499.
Keep them in stock.
$499 in 2005, adjusted for inflation today, is about $665. So $699.
So they're probably.
But inflation is bullshit because we haven't had raises. We still make the same amount of money we did back then.
I don't tell you. I don't control what that says. I'm just reading it off to you.
You did tell me.
I said I don't control it. You're not listening.
Yep. All right, guys.
Maybe you do need to get paid more.
Yeah, we need to go ahead and move on.
We're getting told to shut up now.
Yeah. So.
What else is there?
Yeah, exactly. I'm not saying it. So.
Moving along.
Game round. And if anybody has not, if you're a new viewer here, we haven't played this in a couple of weeks because we haven't had anything, but we do have some tonight. And the way we play it, yes, we do. The way we play it is eep if you have, quack if you haven't. It's almost like, have or haven't you done this? So we're going to ask something, and if you have ever done this, you type in eep. If you haven't ever done it, then you type quack. That's simple as that.
I want to put something to a vote right now. We're only going to explain how the game works every 1,000 subs. What do you say?
I think also they need to play along at home, and they just need to eep or quack as loud as they can to scare the crap out of anybody.
If it doesn't freak out your cat, you're not doing it right.
Exactly. All right, so
he can't hear.
So Mike's cat's deaf, so
yeah, the first one. All right, here's the first one. All right, have you ever cracked a laptop's LCD and just kept using it like that, avoiding the crack spot?
Quack.
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 I'm gonna say quack too, because I've never really cracked one. And
This was Sean's suggestion, by the way, on this.
I've never busted a laptop screen, believe it or not.
and Sean just said eep. He's the only one that said eep so far.
Well, he came up with it. He's just trying to make himself feel better, hoping for a bunch of eeps here, but no, sir.
I think the only LCD I really cracked was that iMac one that was sitting on the shelf and just like
there's one.
danged itself.
There's one.
into the...
Now you can't feel lonely anymore.
I mean, I've had our displays go bad, and I use a external display, but it's not cracked, you know.
I mean, I had a cracked display once. I didn't crack it. I think I got it, but I mean, it was unusable. You couldn't.
I once saw someone, and it was for work, so it wasn't their problem because they weren't going to pay for a replacement. They had an iPad with a cracked screen. The touch screen still sort of worked, and their solution was to get an Apple TV and to mirror the display to it, and that is how they did their testing with the cracked screen mirroring onto an Apple TV. And I'm like, why can't you? They won't pay for it. I'm like, okay.
That works.
It works.
I've only ever cracked one phone screen in my life, and it wasn't even an iPhone. It was my very first Windows phone, actually, and
That deserves it.
And it still works.
Now, I cracked a phone screen that I think is nearly impossible to crack, and it's because I sat my fat butt on it in high school. It was a Nokia 5100, one of those unbreakable phones. I just happened to sit on it against a hard plastic chair and crack the screen.
Those ones weren't quite as unbreakable because of their size. It was the 3100s, and those things will survive a nuclear holocaust.
Either way, it was a black and white screen, and thankfully my friend had a spare.
I had quite a few of those phones, and they were pretty tough. So that's pretty impressive that you were able to do that.
My ass is that big.
But it still wasn't Nokia 3100.
Yep. All right, we only got 2 in here tonight, so let's go ahead and get the next one out the way. Have you ever offered more money to a local ad seller, and that's Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace, for a Mac-related item that he or she was already negotiating with someone else?
Eep.
I was going to say, Steve better say that because he told us about that.
Not a Mac item, but an Apple item.
I'm going to say Eep as well on that.
Yeah, I think I can eat that.
Still double the price.
I can't
they said
say
no.
I've done that.
So we got a lot of Eeps here for this one.
I don't know.
Yeah, for those of you who forgot, it was one of the Apple II CRTs, the little Apple IIc one with the little 9-inch monitor. The guy had one for $40, like brand new, and I offered him double it, and he still said, "No, I told the guy tomorrow."
Let me guess, the guy actually came and picked it up, huh?
Unfortunately.
Can't think of anything. I'm gonna go with quack.
You know what's funny is he's going to get another one or something and watch. He's going to say, "Would you kill me? Nope, 40 now."
I'll give you 20. 20 off for wasting my time.
Yeah.
Yeah. The emotional stress that I went through.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then everybody on Mac Yak is going to detract $5 from that because you cried to us about it for a week.
Now I'm going to make one more up on here. Let's reverse this. Have you ever been offered more money for selling something Apple related and not took it because you were negotiating with someone else?
Wait, as the seller? Or
as the seller. As you as the seller. No, you as the seller. Okay, we're selling something. You were negotiating with somebody. Someone else offered you more money and you turned it down because you were negotiating with someone else.
No.
Quack.
Yeah.
No.
No. I am going to say quack because I always tell whoever was first, and it kind of makes me mad because I'm like, why did you chime in, 5 minutes before this person,
Wait, so you mean Eep?
Huh?
Yeah,
Like you got offered more, but you didn't take it.
Oh yeah,
you already
I'm
had
sorry,
to deal with something.
Eep. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
you offered me more. Screw the other
Well,
guy.
now wait. He said you're already negotiating
Steve.
with somebody else.
Yeah. Have you ever been offered more money? Yes, that would be
You
Eep
said-
because I've been offered more money, but I didn't negotiate. I did not sell it.
This
so.
question is way too confusing.
It is.
Yeah.
It
That's
is.
why we don't improvise. It gets messy.
I sold an old record player from my father's. I tried to sell it on Facebook. I was asking like $50. A bidding war started, and somebody offered me $200. So of course I wasn't an idiot, and I took the $200
Where are your ethics, sir?
Yeah.
right out
Go
the
on.
window in my pocket.
Yeah, $200 ethics in his pocket.
Yeah, and this guy had the gall to like trash me on Facebook. He was like, "Oh, we had a verbal deal," and I'm like, "No, we didn't." And then he got snippy at me, and I just blocked him. So
You know what you should have told him? Says, where's the contract? I want to see it in writing.
Oh, I have to find the screenshot of how I responded to him. I'll share it with you guys offline. That was a fun one.
Yeah, you definitely have to share that one.
Like Alexander says, first come, first serve for the stuff I sell. If I put something up for sale, whoever pays me first gets it.
Yeah,
But
I'm the same.
if I make a deal with someone, say, hey, dude, I need a few days, get the cash together, or I'm coming through town next week. Can we agree on a price? If we do that, then that's it. Deal's a deal. If someone offers me more, I've never been in a situation where it's obscenely more, but it's a few bucks more. It's like, sorry, dude, I already got a deal.
Yeah, I mean, if it's not a substantial amount, I'm fine with being like, the convenience sake, at least you come pick it up. It's yours. But for something
please, you would screw someone for 50 cents.
No, I would not.
Seen you in
No, I
action.
would not. No, I would not. You say you're going to come pick it up right now, and I don't got to freaking worry about it sitting around in the house and me throwing it out. You come and take it.
Yeah. All right, guys.
Bruce Wares is open.
Yeah, there we go.
Put a
Scuzzy
sticker on it.
2SD.
Oh, so we're gonna start a bidding war.
Yes, $2,
Give you $1.
$3,
$4,
$5,
$5.50.
$10.
0.5.
Bruce is like, it cost me way more than that to even make
it cost me way
it.
Bruce is going to tell you the shipping is $500.
I'll tell you when to stop.
Bruce is like, you're seriously underbidding.
Bruce's
Yeah,
packaging and handling fees are in the
I'll-
triple digits.
Yeah, I'll at least let you know when you get into the ballpark. You're not there yet.
We're not even playing the same game,
sweatshop
right?
Stuff, He puts these together while he's drunk, so we know there's not actual work involved. He says, oh yeah, put this there.
There we go.
Ah,
If you
some
lick
brand
them,
new
does
ones.
the price go up?
Scuzzy 2SD version 5.1 with no components on them.
Ooh,
Tasty.
$1.
All right, guys, let's go ahead and move on to our next topic of the evening. 802.11ax Wi-Fi. Now, the new MacBooks
What?
have the 802.11ax Wi-Fi 6 on
Are we
it.
just going to keep adding letters to it?
Yeah, I
Yes.
guess.
Yeah.
That's what it says in the...
XQF9er.
Yeah.
Did we
Exclamation point.
skip a topping?
Yes, we did.
Yes,
Okay.
we're almost out of time.
You need to read
Fair
the chat. You need to read the chat more often.
I did. I did. Oh, I see. Yeah, fine. I like topic 6, that's all.
I do too, but we're going to say that for next week.
Wait, what
Yeah,
is topic
fair
6?
Or not next week, but week after. But,
It is a nice topic. I mean,
yeah.
screw it. Should we just go long?
No, let's...
Well, we're about to lose Dana, so never mind.
Yeah. All right, so the new M1 Max and also some other new things are starting to get this 802.11ax Wi-Fi 6 in it, and it's supposed to be super fast. But is it fast enough to dethrone Ethernet or wired internet?
Yes.
Yes. Explain.
If you're in a lab with all those special pads on the wall, direct line of sight, 5 feet away from it, at the perfect height and pitch and
padded room.
everything,
And wind.
it is faster than Ethernet.
I was about to say, something's wrong with Jay. Go rescue him.
I was about ready to say until he started
Something wrong
explaining.
with Jay would be me saying I love MacBook Air. That'll never happen.
Ah, well, you just said it.
Rewind it.
No,
Rewind it.
Context.
Ah, no, I'm going to take it out of
Not when you-
context.
Not when you snip out that clip. No one's going to know context. Just like
The
you
theoretical
love
speed of Wi-Fi 6 is 1,200 megabytes per second, 9 point something gigabit. which is fast, way faster than Ethernet.
Yeah.
Traditional Ethernet, not the 10 gigabit Ethernet, obviously. So it is theoretically faster. The thing is, not a lot of modems and routers properly implement it, so you can't really use all that bandwidth.
Mm-hmm.
Also, if you put your current MacBook Pro and you buy an M1 and you download the same file, it's probably going to be just as fast, even if you upgrade your entire network, because your internet is still slower.
Yeah.
The router is not placed at an optimal position because it's 6 gigahertz, I believe. You have to be even closer to it to get some speed out of it.
Yeah.
So you probably get the same speeds. Where this becomes an advantage is office buildings, condos with lots of Wi-Fi devices on the same network, because you got pretty much the same speed, but you have way more bandwidth.
And you have to also worry about the amount of devices that are feeding off of that thing.
Well, that's exactly what I was just getting ready to say is usually when you have, even in traditional Wi-Fi, and it's going to be the same with this new Wi-Fi, is once people start using a lot of it, it's going to start taking up RF spectrum, okay? I'm not talking about the actual channels. I'm talking about the actual channels and stuff on it. But I noticed, and I have a program called Wi-Fi Analyzer I use on my Mac all the time to actually see how much bandwidth each signal is taking up. And to be honest with you, for a regular, 2.5 gigahertz, Wi-Fi, you can only put 3 channels on there without interfering with each other. Okay, 3 separate channels. Now, when you're in an apartment building or something like that, okay, you got hundreds of different apartments using that same bandwidth, you're going to get interference. Okay, that interference is going to cause massive slowdowns because you're going to get, packet collisions. You're going to have, retransmits and all that other stuff on there. So it's going to slow it down. And like Jay said, in a lab, that is perfect. But in real life, it's going to be exactly the same as regular Wi-Fi, to be honest with you.
And even though it's an improvement, sure, under ideal conditions, if you have, a whole family lives in a house, everybody has iPhones, everybody has iPads, you got a few Apple TVs playing, you got your Nest thermostat, you got security cameras, wireless, that spectrum becomes full very quickly. This is where Wi-Fi 6 has a lot more bandwidth to offer. But actual speed on your laptop or on your phone is not going to improve all that much.
Exactly.
So, and when everybody's messing around with their Wi-Fi, trying to get the best signal, get the closest, get the best line of sight, my Ethernet is still going to whoop them all.
Yeah, because it's not fighting for all that bandwidth.
Because I will get a consistent 125 to 130 megabytes per second while everybody's messing around trying to get the best signal. So, no, Wi-Fi 6 is not better than Ethernet.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all for making it faster, but you shouldn't go out and buy a whole new router just because they come out with the new Wi-Fi thing, because half of your devices don't, none of your devices has any of the crap.
None of you, exactly.
Buy new stuff.
None of your devices you have now have Wi-Fi 6 in it, unless you bought the newest iPhone, okay? Unless you bought the newest iPad. I mean, you have to buy
and then you have money to spare, so who cares? Upgrade your router. What do we care?
Exactly. Then I would suggest upgrade it, because if you're still using new stuff on an old router, yes, you're not getting the best you can get with it. But again, we go back to this, once you start putting all these devices on there and it's sharing that same frequency, it's still going to slow it down.
Some of these routers have so many antennas on it. It looks like a drone trying to take off,
Yeah. And I'm fine with using older technology. I got this whole house wired up. I'm still a decade away from upgrading my entire network to 10 gigabit. I'm still on regular Ethernet. I don't need 10 gig. That's years away from me. So to worry about Wi-Fi when I get maybe an additional 1 megabyte out of it, I'm going to have to put repeaters throughout the entire house just to get some signal going. No.
Well, just put a Airport Express onto the back of your cat and just have them walk around and repeat the signal.
And to Jay's point too is that most people's Ethernet, our internet actually, I mean mine is 1 gigabit up and 1 gigabit down. So Jay's Well, no, I'm just saying though, you're not going to even come close to actually hitting your internet speed on 10 gigabit Ethernet. I'm sorry, but you're limited to the slowest router in the chain.
Well,
That's what your speed is.
And forget that. What about your storage? You think you're gonna transfer 10 gigabit to a Plex server that's running Western Digital green hard drives?
No,
it's not gonna happen. But bandwidth, like if you run a server, and I think video production does stuff over Ethernet as well. You have a lot of streams coming in. They're all slow, the old slow 125 megs a second, but you can take 5 of them at the same speed instead of just 1. Same with Wi-Fi 6. It's not the speed so much as it is the bandwidth. So.
Well, I know that Linus did a video on that, on his video sharing stuff. He made one. I think it was a 100 gigabit network that he set up. And he did that specifically because all his video editors are basically using it off a server. All the videos going to and from this one server, and they put 100 gigabit Ethernet in, and it smokes, but it still has some little bit of lag because like you're saying, using raw footage like that, you got to have some tremendous bandwidth for that.
Yeah.
Did you watch the video where he had some drive failures? He was not happy at the beginning of that video.
Well, the thing had 20, 50 drives in it?
Yeah.
It's the same one that he gave to I Justine, right?
Yeah, something like it, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think he put a lot of SSDs in it, didn't he, or something like that?
I don't know. Feels like it's been 4 years since I saw that video.
But anyways, the thing is, and I think Jay is right, I think the Wi-Fi 6 is just another gimmick to get your money. You don't really need to upgrade it right now to that because the stuff you have now is going to work just fine.
I have no issue with my network speed or my Wi-Fi speed in this house. None at all.
Me neither.
No
good old Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Wi-Fi. So there we go. All right. Let's see. We got a what were they smoking tonight? So I guess we will go there next. How about that?
Oh, that's
all right.
So I didn't even look at this one yet. So
I did.
Bruce, go ahead and talk about it. I'll copy the link here.
Okay, so this is one that sort of turned up on eBay, and I particularly love the liberal use of the word rare in this ad.
Does it sound like a Goldberg?
This one is a.
It's in Australia.
It's an Australian ad, and obviously, as I've mentioned before on some of the other shows, there are some rather ridiculous things going on with Mac pricing out here. But this one really takes the cake. To call an LC580 rare is just ridiculous. I mean, to give you an idea, I've got an LC580, and I picked it up. I think
they were
just
everywhere.
Like a Gumtree. Yeah, they were everywhere. I mean, they were, sort of in people's homes, and I think they were probably in education as well.
Oh, yeah.
These things were just all over the place. And there are probably so many people that have got these sort of tucked away in their garage or something, an old computer there. And I picked one of these up, reasonably recently, and I paid next to nothing for it because, I mean, it's what this person had from years before. It's like, I just want rid of it. The thing's huge. It's a waste of space. Yeah. These are the ones with brittle plastic. So, of course, if you...
I was just going to say, it's a very nice looking machine, but the moment that goes out of his house onto a shipping truck, it turns into a million pieces.
So is that located anywhere close to you, Bruce?
This one is... it's in the same state, but it's a long way away.
So make an offer for $10. If there's no bids, make an offer for $10 and see where that goes.
It's just such a kind of delusional ad. I mean, that someone would do that with, with a 580 for goodness sake. I mean, come on.
What is 750 Australian?
That's $546 US.
Yeah, that's still $530. Probably too much.
Yeah.
I love. I mean, they have some photos that are actually in focus, but some of them are just like they took the camera and they're like,
Well, the very first picture I'm looking at, and when you do the zoom feature, it's like it's so fuzzy. It's like, what am I? Are my eyes?
Really hold it still.
Yeah.
Now the question is, what was this Aussie smoking?
ink from that style
Do
right.
they smoke
Yes.
any different over there?
Was it Vegemite is something or whatever you guys eat over there?
There's floppy disk labels. Some of them are missing. That's what he was smoking.
There we go. There we go.
Oh dear. So anyhow, I looked at that and I thought, yeah, come on.
No, that's actually a good one. That's a good one. We need.
Hey, Bruce, if he sells that, can you let me know, because I have one of those sitting in my shed.
Except yours.
Yeah, but you only get this money for it in Australia.
Yeah, that ain't
What's
selling.
that?
I mean, that ain't selling.
You only get this kind of cash for it in Australia, not here.
Well, I'll sell it to somebody in Australia.
They just have to
Mike-
pay that extraordinary
Mike,
shipping.
$20 plus
A
600
little
shipping.
bit of, cosmetic damage, I would say, Mike. Just a little bit of cosmetic damage.
Yeah. I mean,
Not really.
I as I say,
Just need to clean up.
I was going to recap the analog board of my LC580 just because why not? And I started taking the back off, and as I started to undo the screws, sort of to actually, able to get to it, the where the screw screwed into, the little sort of things that stick out were just coming off with the screws. And so I thought I'd stuff it and I'll just put it back together again. I didn't want to break it anymore.
Did you read Justin?
But if
You
I
have to do it sometime.
if I ever do have to repair it, yeah.
What is Digga, whatever he's talking about?
Didgeridoo. He was
Yeah.
trying to type.
Who? What? Where?
What is Justin
chat.
Morgan? Perhaps it's rare that it's not yellowed from sun exposure, but yeah, they're smoking from a whatever.
Didgeridoo.
Didgeridoo.
Didgeridoo. That's the one.
That thing.
It's the
It's hard enough to get air out, let alone in the other end. Holy crap.
the musical instrument of the indigenous people of this country.
Okay.
Some people do some pretty amazing things when you consider that it's just a hollow piece of tube.
Yeah.
Well, you ever see Blue Man Group?
I have seen Blue Man Group. I saw they came out here and I went and saw them.
They do some amazing things with PVC pipe. So.
They do.
Maybe that's why this guy was smoking.
PVC pipe.
Blue Man.
All right, guys. So we're coming to close to the end of the show here. So
No, we're over the end.
But-
Now we have to go another 2 hours.
no, we don't. All right. So we got any announcements or any self promotions you guys want to put out there?
I have a video coming out tomorrow.
Yep.
What about?
Saw it on Patreon already.
Oh, I didn't get the Patreon
Trying
notice.
to
disappointment.
surprise here.
The disappointment was palpable. Everyone's like, "Oh,
I want new content.
I'm trying."
Yeah, we already
Not
seen it.
anyone apart from Bruce cares, but I got this new hot plate that I'll be testing out.
Live stream?
Wordsworth, probably
Live?
tomorrow.
Live stream.
And I will probably buy one.
Live stream.
I am working on a sort of SCSI to SD video at the moment, and I've been doing a whole bunch of benchmarks. I've been doing speed benchmarks on the SCSI to SD version 4.2, version 5, 5.1, and
David's here.
using different SD cards and stuff like that. So that'll all be in this video that I've got coming up. So for people who are interested in SCSI to SDs, even just a little bit, it might be interesting.
Yeah.
So,
You watched my hot plate video, so I'll watch your
Yeah.
32SD video.
cool.
All right, guys. Just let everybody know that since next Thursday is the American holiday of Thanksgiving, Bruce doesn't celebrate that there, but we will not
He'll be eating
having
turkey, though.
Yeah. We will not be having a Mac Yak next Thursday. So our next show will be in December. Will be the 3rd. Yeah, I didn't even look at the calendar yet, but December 3rd will be our next show, and we will be having a very special guest on there, and it's going to be a surprise. We will let you guys know right before.
Well, the
we
check
actually have
hasn't
it.
cleared yet, but it's looking good.
Yes.
Yep.
So we will have a very special guest. I'm pretty sure everybody will want to tune into this show. It's going to be a pretty good show, I think.
Absolutely.
Yep.
I think so
Zombie
too.
Steve Jobs.
And that will be our 99th show, our last double-digit show before we hit triple digits.
And then we all retired.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, going out with a bang.
Huh?
And a quick little shout out for, I think it's for Saturday. Happy birthday, Grudy. Shame he couldn't be on the show.
Oh, wasn't it Grudy's birthday? I missed that.
It's on coming this Saturday.
Oh,
Yeah, it's still
coming.
coming.
He's going to buy another truck to celebrate.
And what's going on Sunday?
A better one?
Someone else has a birthday.
Is that bald-headed guy there?
Yeah,
Well, that doesn't exactly narrow it down in this group.
Yeah, thanks, jerk.
Well, it does. It doesn't put me in there, see?
Yeah, exactly. That's why I called you the jerk.
Well, Dana's got a full head of hair, but pretty much too. He's not.
That's a wig.
Yeah, there's a hair plug.
No, it's not.
It's real.
You do that, your whole face comes
I'll
off.
do my Chris Farley.
Yes. Oh boy.
I think it's time to go, guys.
Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
This
I
is
think
quickly
it is.
getting worse.
But
Discord, whatever. Go to the thing. Bye.
yeah, basically, let me go
I
ahead.
got a Discord and there's some other stuff, and bye.
Yep.
Money.
All right.
But
So
speaking of Discord, we currently have 255-ish members.
Dude, 256. Let's come on. Let's one more.
I want to say a big thank you to everybody there that, just having regular conversation, keeping the server alive, keeping it going, bringing topics, ideas, it's appreciated, and we're having a lot of fun.
Fighting
Yeah.
over your favorite Mac.
we're actually surprised that server has blown up as much as it has, and it's up. This thanks to you guys for watching us, and thanks for you guys for joining us there on Discord. Now, if we can get 255 people to actually watch us every night, that would be good too. But
Yeah, but then I wouldn't be able to keep up with the chat anymore.
well, then we can put it on. We can put it on slow mode. See, we have that.
Oh.
That's right.
True.
Yeah, we've never had to use slow mode a lot. So guys, thank you
I
guys.
think if we just throttle Trina and Justin and just
So,
those
basic,
two. If we
so
just put
basically
those two
anger,
on slow mode,
our super
good.
fans. Okay.
Yeah, there we go.
And
So-
Sean just should ban him completely.
Yeah, there we go. Well, he did give us a super chat. He's the only one that gave us a super chat tonight. So
All right, I guess he can stick around for another week.
He
exactly.
gets super
yeah.
duper top fan status.
Exactly. Super secret.
Bribe status.
There you go. All right, guys. So appreciate you guys watching. We appreciate you guys watching us every Thursday. Like I said, we will not be here next Thursday. We will be back December 3rd. So make sure you watch out for us. Join us on Discord. Make sure you, Bruce, say it.
Yes. Right. Smash that like button.
There we go. All right. Make sure you smash it. And also make sure you subscribe to us. And if you got some friends out there, get them to come up and join us and show them how much fun we have here. That's why we call it Mac Yak. That's all we do is yak. I mean, so
Yes, you have to convince your friends that they are not the cool ones for not being here. It's the other way around.
exactly. You're the cool one for being here.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So anything else before we say goodbye?
Nope.
All right. We'll
Goodbye.
see you guys later. Have a good evening and see you in 2 weeks.
Adios.
Bye-bye.